Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call this regular council meeting of the District Mission to order. And first of all, I would like to welcome the community members. Welcome. Who have come to attend this meeting.
We're here more or less to formally introduce ourselves to council and to propose the resolution. As I say, my name is Janet Chalmers and I'm the spokesperson for the Water Watch Mission Abbotsford. Also here this evening is Diane Sucra, who will be speaking to you in a minute, and Lynn Perrin, who is the Abbotsford spokesperson for Water Watch Mission Abbotsford, as well as a number of supporters. Water Watch Mission Abbotsford is a group of Abbotsford and Mission citizens who are passionate about keeping the operation of our water in public hands, as well as other municipal infrastructures. We were born right here on the front yard last April when Mission Council was meeting to vote on the involvement of a P3, which is a public-private partnership, in the development of Stave Lake to serve our community's water needs. Thankfully, Mission Council voted against P3 funding for this project with our Maiden Mission water policy, but our battle still goes on as Abbotsford's decided to go forward without us. Since that time, we've drawn attention from KeepEMStraight and Council Canadians, both groups who support our Water for Life not-for-profit campaign. The reason I'm bringing up these two groups is Abbotsford's bringing these two groups forward as being bad for a campaign. I'd like to remind the Mayor and Council that our affiliation with these groups is not a bad one, because behind those labels are thousands of like-minded people. People who live in our community, people who work in our community, people who buy in our community, shop in our community. It's not the union or the council, we're people. Well, with introductions aside, what Water Watch Mission Abbotsford is asking of you is that you present and support a resolution to the Union of BC Municipalities, urging that body to call upon the federal government on behalf of all municipalities to fulfill its responsibility to invest in the renewal and replacement and operation of public water and wastewater infrastructures, and to stop compelling and to have the federal government stop compelling municipalities to apply for federal funding through P3 Canada. We want our water to remain in public hands, including the management of it. This resolution has previously been drafted and submitted by Burnaby City Council. The resolution is up there on the board. Thank you. Whereas public health depends on equitable access to clean water supplies, and whereas public ownership and operation of drinking water and wastewater treatment systems has improved access and quality, and public operation has been shown to be cost-effective, efficient, transparent, accountable, and responsible to changing technology and priorities the community needs. Therefore, be it resolved that the Union of BC Municipalities call upon the federal government through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and or other avenues to fulfill its responsibility to invest in the renewal and replacement of aging local government infrastructure, including that related to drinking water and wastewater, in a manner that ensures continued public ownership and operation. I would like now to invite Diane Sucra, Water Watch Coalition member and Water Watch campaigner from KeepEMStraight, to speak.
Thank you for this opportunity to address Council. I also wanted to mention I'm a Mission resident as well. When deciding whether or not to pursue this Stave Lake P3 water project, we watched many council members, not just here in Mission but also in Abbotsford, sort of agonize and express dismay at the predicament our municipality had been placed under, where in order to access federal funding for vital infrastructure projects, we were being forced to push it through this P3 screen or to privatize our public services. In this case, it involved the finance and operation of our water services for 25 years. And Mission Council made the bold and correct decision in turning down that possibility. However, this funding continues to be restricted despite Canada's widely acknowledged infrastructure deficit and the budgetary challenges that communities face in meeting their growing infrastructure needs, and Mission is going to continue to face similar challenges as they move forward to find a made in Mission solution to our future water needs. Statistics Canada reports that there's been a steady decline in federal funding for urban infrastructure, and it's pretty dramatic. In the 1960s, the federal government put forward over 25% of all urban infrastructure funding, and by 2002 that was down to 6.8%, and despite all of the media attention around this deficit in infrastructure funding, that has not increased substantially in the past few years. Provincial funding has remained relatively steady, going down over those 40 years or so by only 5%, from 45% to 40%. But the burden on municipalities has increased from 30% for all infrastructure funding to over 50% coming from municipalities to provide these vital services. And in the report which you have attached to our delegate request form by the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, they've made it clear that this infrastructure deficit is now up to over $123 billion, with between 30 and 50 billion more being required in the coming years to upgrade current systems and to meet new water and effluent standards being introduced by the governments. And we've heard for years the municipal leaders, both personally but also through your associations like the FCM, constantly raise this issue of the fact that out of every dollar of tax dollar collected, only 8% goes to municipalities, which are clearly unfairly burdened with the bulk of frontline services that keep our communities strong and functioning. There were some federal attempts to address this. Remember the New Deal for Cities? However, that was nixed in 2006 with the current government, and they began to introduce a privatization agenda for the federal government. That is not a secret that we're telling you, but it's something that we've all experienced here, but that they proudly announced through the introduction of the Crown Corporation, P3 Canada, and the P3 Canada Fund, which is specifically designed to redirect struggling communities to access private, to privatize their services in order to access public funds. And we even heard in the media, Mayor Tebby, when this council had turned down the decision, you spoke to the media about, well, we're going to still look forward to seeking federal funding, but perhaps not for the design and build, but not for the finance and operate, which is what you had heard the public was actually saying. However, I'm sure the answer was a definite no from the federal government, that it must, and that is the restrictions that they place, it must be include the full bore finance and or operate, or a combination of the two. However, the Canadian way, and it's been expressed in polls over and over again, has been to keep our water and wastewater services in public hands. And for the vast majority of municipalities, as we know, this continues to remain the case, and thankfully for Mission as well. In fact, in all of Canada, there are only 3 municipalities that have ever privatized their, in this full sense, their water services. And out of that, one of them has already remunicipalized, and that is Hamilton, which did so after a disastrous 10-year experience. However, this is not only what we're experiencing in Canada, across Europe and the United States, municipalities are rejecting these P3 water proposals and remunicipalizing projects, mainly due to what they've experienced, which is reduced quality, increased cost, inefficiencies, lack of transparencies, critical loss of control, as well as the uncovering of obscene and what's called in Europe, they're described as astronomical profits that they found P3 companies to be making. In the United Kingdom, the Auditor Generals are just lambasting these corporations and these deals for and putting them under intense scrutiny. In the United States, a pro-P3 research institute, the Reason Foundation, which we included a copy of that in this delegate report, produces an annual privatization report where they sort of champion whatever successes they've had with the millions of dollars that have been used to promote P3s. And in the United States, the federal government also has its version of P3 Canada called the Partners Rebuilding America. It sounds almost as sweet as P3, as public-private partnerships, but it's just privatization in disguise. And in their report, which I've highlighted for you, they say that in 2009, only 14 new municipal water and wastewater contracts worth over $50 million in lifetime value were signed in 2009, while 10 privately operated plants reverted back to municipal control. So that means in the whole of that economy, there was only a net gain of 4. And I could go on and on about other communities and their experiences, and but I know we have a restricted time limit here to 10 minutes. But Mission is not alone in having made this decision, this very wise decision. particularly at this time as the Canadian government continues to pursue its negotiations with the European Union on this trade deal, the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, which proposes to open up municipal services, including water and wastewater, to the threat of challenge by European corporations. That is currently going into its now 9th round of negotiations in October. It just completed its 8th, and despite a UBCM resolution trying to exclude municipalities from its overarching powers and the concerns that it has to limit local autonomy and our ability to maintain our services in public hands, that municipalities have still not been exempt from this agreement and continues to pose grave threat. Labor lawyers and trade experts are warning municipalities that there is only one way to protect your public services and your autonomy, and that is to maintain them in public hands. Also included in our delegate package is a report produced by the Council of Canadians and CUPE titled Public Water for Sale, How Canada Will Privatize Our Public Water Systems. And this not only outlines the impact of CETA on municipalities, but also describes how the private water industry is attempting to leverage this infrastructure deficit as an avenue to increasing its role in water delivery and treatment. And sadly, the federal government is using this exact same logic. They know that services have been downloaded on municipalities. They know that they're restricting federal funding. They know that there's a budgetary crisis due to the economy and the increased pressures on municipalities. So there is a funding crisis. At the same time, I'm almost done. I'm right here. Thank you. And at the same time, they're using this very same budget crisis as an excuse to promote P3 Canada. And in their May 4th press release, where they announced the 3rd round of funding, which Abbotsford is participating in to access the funding, they say, in today's economy, the combined challenge of infrastructure deficits and fiscal deficits are driving governments to innovate and get the best value for taxpayers. However, municipalities like Mission have proven that that is not best value for taxpayers. It's not what the Mission residents want. And in order to continually move forward in the future, we are asking municipalities to continue to urge the federal government to support through secure funding our infrastructure needs, and that's what we're asking you to do here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both Janet and Diane. First of all, I would like to say that one, this council did make a decision. We are not involved. We will not be involved in it. That decision stands. That I wanted to affirm that decision still stands.
Water for life, not for profit. Water for life, not for profit. No